Hello, and welcome to another off-season episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 Fancast. I'm your host, Havocpuss, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Frozen Creek.
Hello. It's been a while, but I'm happy to be back. How's it going with you?
It's going all right. Things are moving.
Yeah, I feel like I had something not important to talk about at the beginning of the episode, but I can't think of what it was. Have you been playing Among Us?
No, I want to though, because it's it seems really fun, but my issue is that like I don't have like a big, I don't have like a friend group that's really like playing it or like doing it a bunch. So I'm kind of not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I've been playing it. You're free to jump in with us if you ever want. But
oh yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I played it for like 3 hours last night, and that's not something I ever do with a game that's not leaked.
Wow.
So that was my second night playing. So I would highly recommend it. If you have it, I can let you know when we play next week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, sweet. Making connections.
Making connections.
Now, I think we do have some news among us this week, so I will let you kick that off.
Yeah. I'll run down some results really quick. There weren't many. But Rainbow Six kicked off another season of the APAC North division thingy. But they beat Guts Gaming 7-3. They looked really good. And also WoW secured first place in the round robin of the AWC BFA circuit. So pretty good so far.
Yeah, Rainbow Six is kicking off their World Championship of Southeast Asia. Well, so that's good. I did not see WoW, but I have a very good feeling of how their matches played out, based on the same thing they always do.
Yeah, they
Is it Warlock, Druid, Mage?
It's usually Warlock, Druid, Mage. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. Did you?
No. I think I watched a few games. It's kind of difficult to watch WoW just because like the matches take a while to really get going. But I'm glad that we are still on top and are looking to, continue to go forward. I don't have a lot to say on WoW. I'm not gonna lie to you.
All right, fair. Move on, but before anybody noted.
Okay. Moving on. I guess our first piece of news is that Cloud9 signs Avery and Nosh as part of our Fortnite North American team, and this kind of surprised me considering I didn't think we would be reinvesting in trying to get some Fortnite players for North America. We have like a couple Brazilian players, and that seemed about it. So it's kind of interesting, and I think we might even have more because I couldn't find the tweet trying to scroll back through their feed, but they posted a tweet where it was like asking where are we dropping, and it posted like 5 little like emoji people, which kind of implies that there's going to be more, and we're going to have like 5 Valorant players. But it seems kind of odd that we're doing this kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, we were in Fortnite like a year ago, weren't we?
Yeah. I even remember like we signed a few North American players, and I think it was to get ready for this big tournament that was happening, or there were a couple of big events that were happening. And just randomly, like I think that like the scene for Fortnite didn't really take off, and after that, like things kind of fizzled out, and no one was really as interested in Fortnite anymore. So, of course, like naturally kind of quietly let them go. We like I said, we do have like a couple like Fortnite players for Brazil. So it's kind of weird that we're getting more Fortnite players and for North America, which seems really specific. I'm not aware of any like big event or anything that comes up, or that's coming up that we're like, oh, we got to get this team ready so we can go and participate.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Fortnite website, and it's saying that there's an FNCS tournament warm-up starting on Monday.
Mhm.
Saturday, so maybe that could be it. We would be playing with North American West as Brazilians on that server. So I don't know if that's it. But yeah, it was kind of random after we had kind of dropped out of all of our what are these games called again? I'm blanking.
Battle Royales.
Yes, those things. Yeah, we dropped out of all of them except CS or not CS:GO, PUBG Mobile. So it was kind of a random announcement, but I guess it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if they can work it out, or if Fortnite's doing something to like kind of reinvigorate interest or do something to actually work on their esports scene versus what they've been doing, which is like nothing. That could make sense, but I don't know. We'll see. I think the battle royale genre, I think its biggest issue is that just no one's really trying to do anything esports wise. So it's like you sign a team because a game comes out and people are interested in it, and then 6 months later, everyone's moved on to something else, and you've done nothing to keep it relevant or keep your scene relevant. So that's kind of how it is. If Fortnite's actually doing something about it, then good for them.
Or when are we going to get a professional Among Us team?
Oh yeah, that's where it's at. We need the Among Us esports scene to really come alive here. They need to jump on the popularity that is Among Us while the iron's hot, and that you gotta you gotta do it. You gotta start having Among Us tournaments. I'm not sure how that would work, specifically
via teams,
but I think it could totally happen, and it would be very fun.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Or like a Twitch Rivals thing.
Yeah. I could see it happen.
Yeah, seems a random game to have high stakes on, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. But moving on, we have some more exciting CS:GO signings as the Cloud9 along with Henry and Kassad build the C9 Colossus. They have signed Mezzi and Woxic to the team as they're continuing to kind of fill out their roster. Mezzi is kind of an interesting case because he's kind of not necessarily an unknown, but he's kind of a rookie. He's played in a bunch of tier 2 and like MDL stuff, and he's really not had a lot of exposure to higher levels of play. Everyone knows Woxic. Woxic's an opper. Everyone says he's super sick. He has kind of had a bit of a downturn when he's on mouse, but he says that he can easily, come up to Super Saiyan form and be a really good part of this team.
Yeah, I feel like this might be the biggest statement of intent yet for the CS:GO team because Woxic's been a part of Mouse Esports, who has been one of the best European organizations for CS:GO. So the backdrop, it just continues at this point.
Yeah. I think that the more pieces that get signed to this new roster, the more I'm excited about it, and it's really needed because I've actually been kind of watching our quote unquote current roster as they perform in some ESL stuff, and they've looked like they've just gotten worse. It's 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 really hard to watch, and it really just kind of emboldens the statement that like, yeah, we really needed a new team because we've had them for a little while. C9 asked them to improve, and not even like big improvements. I read an interview that Jack did on HLTV, and he's willing to work with the team. He needed them to just kind of slowly improve, not even do anything super major, but the team and the org seemed to have some disagreements on how things were going. C9 wanted to do things one way. I think ATK wanted to do things another way. I think that maybe C9 wanted to look into maybe making some roster changes and just kind of adding a couple of pieces, but everyone wanted to kind of stay together. And there were some other things on maybe how they approached the game that kind of clashed. And their play suffered more and more, and this is the result. So it's kind of a good thing that this is happening.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because I did like the current active roster, but I think I'm a lot more excited about the changes that we're making. Although it does seem like it's going to be a full European squad based in Europe for the time being because of COVID. So that is kind of different for us in ESGO.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of necessary because the North American talent pool, I've seen a lot of people saying, is just non-existent, especially now. There's not a lot of good talent you can really pull from North America. Like, unless you have major buyouts to like buy from Envy or from, not Envy, but Evil Geniuses or like Team Liquid. There's just no one you can reasonably and like feasibly build to try to get like a top 10, top 5 roster. Like, Europe just has so many more players that can, foreseeably go to that level. So I think it's just what you have to do. I think it makes sense, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it kind of sucks to not be like an American organization again. But
I don't really care about that. I just want to win.
Fair. Yeah, but now we'll be getting games at weird times in North America. We'll be playing at 10 a.m. our time, which is okay for us not on the East Coast, but
that's not okay for the
Standard Time.
That's not okay for the players though. There's been a whole, I'm not sure if you've been following it on Twitter, but there's been this whole debate over, and it all started because for like ESL matches that happened, I think last week, players had to wake up at 10 a.m. to play games, and they were upset about it. And everyone's like, just go to bed at a normal time. Don't stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning playing video games or whatever. Or streaming, after practice and whatnot. You've created this really poor sleep schedule for yourselves, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, we got to play at 10 a.m. Yeah, well, go to bed on time. Don't stay up late. Cultivate a good sleeping habit. It seems, and I could be just uninformed about how things go over there, but it seems just really ridiculous that you're complaining about waking up at 10 a.m. or before 10 just to play at 10 a.m.
And all this is a remote still, right? So they're just waking up.
Yeah, you're just
washing their hair and eating food and playing.
Yeah. You just wake up, eat breakfast, have like a meeting, maybe like, I don't know. I don't know how long like team meetings are, before a game. I'm not sure if they have like drills or whatever they run. I'm not sure how things go on before a game, for their pre-game rituals. But I imagine it's just wake up, eat breakfast an hour before the game. So it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it could be, if I assume that most players are in the same time zone, I can imagine it being difficult if it's like, well, I'm on the East Coast and it's, if it's like 10 a.m. like East Coast time and you're having to wake up at like really early and being on like the Pacific Coast, that could be a little difficult. But if it's all in the same time zone or if you're all in the same area, You wake up and it's like it's 9 o'clock. You have your team meeting, you get ready, and then at 10 o'clock you play. That's to me at least. That doesn't seem like a really big burden. That seems more of just a cultural issue that you've created for yourselves as professional, esports people. In you do practices and scrims and team meetings, and then after that, you're way into the night, also practicing on your own and streaming and doing all this other stuff. It seems to be more of just a cultural issue of how they manage their time, at least to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I was in college marching band, we would if it was a noon game, we were up practicing at 6:30 a.m. each day. So I was up at 5. It was dumb.
Yeah.
And
It sounds dumb
for a game that's like 2 hours long. And
Yeah.
I was at the field from 6 to like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. doing like physical labor because I carried a tuba. So it's not like I was playing flute or something.
Yeah, like for my job, when I'm on day shift, I have to wake up at 4 a.m. so I can then work all day. So it's a bit of perspective kind of thing, but I think if you're looking at it and you have to be up maybe a few hours before then, so you have to wake up at like 8 o'clock to be ready, 7, 8 o'clock, which is normal for most people to wake up to then play a game at 10 o'clock in the morning. That seems like such an easy thing to do. I just don't understand why everyone's so upset about it. And I could be wrong, and I could just be not informed about how things work over there. But to me, it just seems very trivial and really silly to cause such a big fuss over.
Yeah, it is. But I'm keeping us on track.
Yes.
Valorant.
So we made an interesting signing in that we have announced our coaching staff for the Valorant team. So far, we have not had a coach. It's mostly just been tens and friends kind of cowboying it up, doing their own thing. But we have a head coach and a strategic coach now. We have Chu and James IRL. James used to be our CSGO coach, and he was kind of still in the org as like sort of an analyst, I think, for the CS team. But now he's transferred over to being like a second coach to Valorant alongside Chu. And Chu is kind of interesting because he used to be Team Envy's Overwatch coach back when Envy was in Overwatch. So it's kind of interesting that he's moved on to Valorant and he is now our head coach. And I don't think he's had any coaching experience specifically in Valorant before. So this is his first team to be coaching.
Yeah, and it is a new game, so I feel like that's not that big of an issue. I'm sure he's been playing it with his eyes set on doing this, but I wonder if it had anything to do with the fact that James IRL was still under contract and they were just like, hey, you should go do something as opposed to not doing something and getting paid.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I could see that.
But so we finally got a coach. Are you happy about that?
I'm happy about it. I think that's what the team really needs in order to to be an effective team. I think that what our issues with currently are that we kind of I'm trying to put this into words. It's really hard. We don't seem to have good focus. Like we'll have rounds where the first half goes and we're like 6-2, but then it ends up being like 6-6 or something, or 5-7 or 7-5 by the time the half's over. We could be down a bit and then we have to kind of come back up in the second half. We kind of struggle, I think, on strategies, and I think that we really just need to have a head coach, or a couple of coaches that kind of say, hey, look, here are our strategies for this map. Here's kind of the agents we need to play. And I think it introduces a lot more structure into the team. So I think this is going to be really good for us.
Yeah, and I think it's good to have a third party sitting out of the game who's not focused on one person's performance, who can see everything going on around at the map and such. So I'm hoping that this will lead to improvements. Has there been any growth among the Valorant scene to like a Riot sanctioned events and such?
There's actually going to be the first Riot sanctioned event, Frozen.
Oh, okay.
It's going to start in October, I believe. It's called the shoot. I forgot the name. I have to look it up. They announced it like literally yesterday. Okay, so it's going to be called First Strike, the First Strike tournament. It's the qualifiers are going to be in October, and then the regionals will be in November, and then the finals will be in December. They even broke down into kind of regions where major regions are Europe, North America, Latin America, and Korea, which is kind of interesting considering Korea hasn't had like almost any events or competition, while Japan, meanwhile, is a minor region, and they have been having events and everything like nonstop since the game came out. So I find it really weird that Korea, even though they've had almost no competitive scene really, at least historically, is a major region, while Japan has been so much more active in Valorant, is a minor region. I guess it's just due to population density. That can honestly be the only like explanation for why, because to me it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but I wonder if Cloud9 is going to be able to field two rosters.
Yeah, that's an interesting point also.
Yeah. Or wait, question first. Is this going to be like a world tournament, or
I think it is. I think it is. How they're breaking it down, it looks like it is. At least looking at like that, they've broken regions into major and minor regions, unless each region's just going to have their own tournament. It will, like you said, be interesting for us to field two teams, especially with the Korean team, since the Korean team, since its inception, has only participated in one event, and they got 4th place in it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how both of our teams kind of, progress and really do, not only in this tournament, but just in general.
I wonder if the Korean team will come to the North of America to boot camp.
That would be really interesting.
Turn the tables, or turn
yes.
the tables.
Turn those tables.
I think that's what I meant to say. Turn those tables on Korea and make their asses come here.
Yeah, they got it. It's all for so long. We've had to go over there. Now it's your time to come over to our house
and learn from us Americans.
Yes, it's not a good house. It's like when when you live in a nice house and then you have this friend and he always comes over to your house, and then it's like, yeah, let's go over to your house, and then his house isn't as nice, and you're like, oh, now I feel bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, makes sense.
Yeah, we're the poor friend in this scenario.
All right, let's move on because I'm technically still working. We do have one of our Among Us guys was killed by the imposter, and Reapered has left the team.
Yeah, I'm of two minds about Reapered leaving. On the one hand, I think this is the move that you have to make, considering all that's happened in summer alone. I think also kind of his, not so much his other faults that I think do make a good case if you wanted to kind of argue in letting him go, but I think that you don't go 9-0 in the first half of summer to just completely bomb out of the rest of the season. It's unacceptable, and he kind of had to go. He kind of had it coming. On the other hand, he is a really smart coach, and I think he does know a lot about the game and what he has done for the Cloud9 League of Legends program, and being able to just develop these players and allow them to reach a new level of play that they probably wouldn't have reached if they weren't under Cloud9. I think that's really valuable. And it's really interesting that it kind of came a bit out of nowhere. And also kind of there hasn't been an announcement yet on who would be kind of filling the void.
Yeah, so we still have Reignover, West Rice, right?
Yeah, Reignover, West Rice, Rapid Star.
I was going to say a Wild Star. So thank you. So we still have coaches on the payroll who have worked a lot with the academy team. So it is not, we haven't heard any rumors or anything about who might be becoming the coach at this point. So I think I do agree with most of what you said about Reapered. Like, he was brought in during season 6?
5 or 6, I think. He's been with us a while.
I think it was season 6. I think it was season 6 because season 5 we still had the OG roster in spring. But he could have came in summer season 6 or 5. I guess it doesn't matter all that much. But he was brought in at a time after High left when we were a shit show, to say the least. And he was brought in to rebuild the team up, or rebuild them up from their dependency on High as a leader and a shot caller. And I think he was extremely successful in doing what he did in that capacity, because for the beginning of that split that he first came in on, we were running around like a bunch of headless chickens, and he managed to get us to Worlds with that roster. And I think, did he get us out of groups, or was that the 0-6 week 2 year?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
We've gone out of groups a bunch under Reapered. Like, his legacy, I think, is really interesting because he has had like multiple North American finals appearances. A lot of those are second place finishes, but
he had one every year, I think.
No, yeah, like at least
5 years.
Yeah, like at least every year he has gone to play like the finals at least once. He was able to get a North American championship. He was also the coach that was able to have North America get out of quarterfinals and appear in the semifinals for the first time. It's a legacy that I think you have to give credit where it's due for what he's been able to do for North American League of Legends and for Cloud9. So it's not like he was a bad coach. I think it's more that his faults did kind of cost us at times, and that's the thing that makes it really frustrating when kind of discussing Reapered. And sometimes our losses were more due to on the player side, but some were kind of due more to the coaching.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it kind of all does come down to coaching and leadership. And I think throughout that whole time, there were more times that we probably could and should have won a championship. And a lot of that is due to Reapered himself. Like, we brought in a lot of rookies during that time. Jensen, we replaced Impact with Licorice, Blabber, the whole Svenskeren contract situation. I'm replacing Sneaky, going from Bunny Fufu to Smoothie to Zazel to what's his face? Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Sorry, I guess I'm tired
You're spacing on our players.
And just the fact that he was able to do all of that and still always appear in finals was pretty remarkable, I think. But a lot of his faults were the reasons that we had to fight for that third seed at Worlds so many times, or lost finals, or
not even get out of like quarterfinals for playoffs and get
or
knocked out at like 6th place.
Or drafted Kindred Jungle for Rush 3 games and
I don't think that was when Rush when Reaper was a coach.
Okay, so that would have been season. Oh shit! I don't even know at this point. I'm old. Okay. Oh well, that was pretty.
They all blur together, but
bad.
Reaper wasn't a coach when we had Rush.
Okay. Which is probably for the best for Rush.
Yeah, but to be fair, he did do something similar with the Ezreal Yumi deal.
Yes,
so
that was pretty bad.
That's pretty much in the same vein.
Yeah, and I think what his biggest downfall came down to preparing the team for playoffs this past year and drafts in general. Like, it sounds like there was a lot of preparation done in scrims with no intention of actually playing it on stage.
Yeah, there seemed to be, and Jack kind of talked to us in the nines where the scrim culture was really bad and we just weren't transferring whatever we learned or whatever we did in scrims to the stage. It seemed like we either completely forgot or just refused to use all that time scrimming and apply it. So it seemed like the culture on the team really kind of suffered. And, I'm not sure, we don't know who's necessarily like involved, right? I think the coach is a big part of that though. As a coach, you're supposed to be prepping the team. You're supposed to be prepping drafts and getting your team to practice the picks that you're probably intended on drafting, and I think that, is it a big deal that they can't maybe play 1 or 2 champions? No. But when the meta completely shifts outside of your comfort pools, you have to bite the bullet and just go, look, you're going to practice with Caitlyn and you're going to play nothing but Caitlyn in scrims until you can get it down, because this is a big deal as a pick, right? Just as an example. So I think that, that's a big part of being a coach. And if you fail at that badly, there's going to be repercussions. There's just no denying it. I can't sit here and say like, oh, well, I wish Reaper was, that him leaving was kind of uncalled for. It's like, no, it was totally uncalled. It was totally called for. And C9 is in every right to try to explore different coaching configurations. And if he doesn't fit within that, that's his fault.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it all does come down to who's in charge, and I guess I'm kind of lost to how I feel about it. Like, it probably was time for Cloud9 to move on, and Reapered has brought us a lot of enjoyable moments, but I feel like this team was stronger than how they performed for the last 5 weeks of the split, including playoffs. And a lot of that comes down to leadership, and that comes down to Reapered. So I hope they left on good terms. And the only thing I hope is that Reapered doesn't go to another team in North America. Although I could see EU of Geniuses ponying up some cash for him.
I think a few teams are kind of hurting for like a stronger coach. So I could definitely see
every team is hurting for a stronger coach.
Yeah, I could definitely see any team like picking him up. He said that he's down to play, I think, coach in like any region, I think. It's going to be interesting to see how we move on from this, because, we do have some really good coaches left internally. And I think that Rainover, at least in my opinion, is probably the biggest candidate to become a head coach. I know Westrice has kind of been the assistant coach for a long time, but what Rainover was able to do with the academy team and constantly have them improve and constantly keep them flexible, back-to-back academy championships is really, really good. So I think that Rainover would be a good choice if we wanted to just hire internally. externally, there are also a lot of options. You know, we could go for someone in Europe, or we could go for someone in Korea. I think it's just a matter of, you know, what our options are and what C9 is willing to do. I think that how the roster performs is going to be really interesting because they have the work cut out for them with some players, at least in my opinion. I think Blabber and Niski and hell, maybe everybody, I don't know. But I think at least for me, like Blabber and Niski really need to work on themselves still. You know, I said it last year and I'll say it this year, like their decision making and how they play like harms the team, and you need to either have them move on from that or get them to where they're just so good at how they play that they can still be flexible and all that jazz without it compromising our strategies, you know. But that's a conversation for another time, and how we'll actually do with the team. But it'll be interesting to see how the five as a whole kind of comes together and with whatever our new coaching situation is.
I somewhat disagree with what you said. I think that this team is built to win now, and I think if there are any roster changes, it needs to be hard improvements on the squad, and I don't anticipate that happening. So I think our coach needs to be someone who knows what they're doing and can squeeze as much out of this team as possible, because I feel like Niski was coming off one of his best years outside of the collapse at the end of the split, and same with Blabber. I think Licorice needs to be hit upside the head to be refocused, and I'm really happy with the bot lane too, but I think that we need to find someone in Europe, Korea, or China to come in who has had success in the past. But I also would be fine if it was a Rainover, though I think it would be cool to see a Rainover or West Rice go to another team as head coach with whoever ends up buying Fudge or Palafox or something from us. So yeah, I think that would be good for them.
Yeah, that's definitely an option too. I think that what's going to be crazy about this offseason is I think that if teams want to improve, they're going to have a really tough time because, you know, if this whole virus situation is still going on, you know, they're gonna, they're gonna have a tough time like improving their roster through imports or anything. So it's at that point, it's like, well, we have to dip into the academy pool pretty heavily, and there's going to be a lot of competition for people like Fudge and like Palafox, you know, and Diamond. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how teams kind of not only build off of that talent pool in the academy scene that's already there, but then have to try and develop the next generation after that.
Yeah, but I think for time constraints, we should move on to world stuff.
Okay, yes. Okay. We're pretty much done with this bit anyway. I always drag stuff out. That's my bad.
Yeah, no worries. So we have play-ins starting this weekend. I guess I should have looked when the first game was.
It's
tomorrow, meaning Friday, September 25th. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the first game's at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, they're really early.
So fuck me. But so the North American representative in play-ins is Team Liquid, obviously. They got drawn into a group with Mad Lions. Papara is Supermassive. Is that Supermassive that we know?
Yeah, that's from Turkey.
Okay. Legacy Esports and INTZ from Brazil. And then the other group is V3 Esports, PSG Talon, Rainbow 7, Unicorns of Love, and LGD Gaming. I think it's two fun groups, to be honest. Mad and Team Liquid is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. I think that this group stage has a lot of recognizable names that everyone, you know, can be like, oh yeah, I know this team and I know this team, or at least you recognize the brands. So it'll be interesting to kind of see who kind of can get knocked out and who can go on to groups. I think TL has to get out of groups, if only to save face after losing to TSM in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's going to be extremely important for Team Liquid to get first in the groups, just because if not, you're going up against possibly Unicorns of Love at some point for a group spot, which I would not want to do.
Yeah, it's going to be Plans is actually going to be really interesting. I think it's one of the few years where Plans is actually exciting and not just, we got to go through a few play-in stage matches before we get to the actual event. You know, it's just kind of something I have to get through. But this is going to be really good. I'm pretty excited. I think I really want to see Supermassive do well, since Turkey has kind of been a region that's always been kind of like at the border of becoming a strong region that's taken seriously, but they always seem to just not get themselves over. You know, they kind of seem to struggle a little bit in getting themselves over that hump. So it'd be really dope to see, Supermassive, go on to the group stage so we can see more from them.
Yeah, I agree. So how it works is there's 2 groups, round robin, and then oh shit, I guess I forgot. The 2 and 3 team. No, the 3 and 4 teams play best of 5 from alternating groups. Play a best of 5, and then the winner plays the second seed in a best of 5 to get the groups, and then the first seeds automatically go on to Worlds groups. I believe that's correct.
I think so. That sounds right.
So, getting second into the group is a must for Team Liquid if they want to go on, and getting first would be incredibly important, because then they could possibly avoid Unicorns of Love, which would be big, or JD Gaming, or not JD Gaming, LGD. Avoiding them is big too. So I think their goal should be to win, but Mad Lions is a really fun team to watch. So I'm super stoked to watch that Mad and Liquid game.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. And we have like some really interesting group stages going on as well. So I think once they get rounded out, it'll be really interesting to see who has to play who and how each team kind of measures up.
Yeah. So what are your predictions for who gets out of groups? Out of play-ins. Sorry.
Out of play-ins, I think I picked 4 teams, right?
4 teams, yes.
Okay. I think Mad Lions and Team Liquid can get out. I think the other group, it'll be really interesting. I'd say Unicorns of Love and either Talon or probably LGD will probably make it out as well. Rainbow 7 from Brazil could do an upset, but Brazil League of Legends has never really been super duper strong. Same thing with V3. JPL, they've just never really been able to compete with teams from Taiwan or the other kind of larger-ish regions. So I'd say those are my picks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mad Lions and LGD are gonna win the groups, and then Team Liquid and Unicorns of Love are going to get out from the groups get out of play-ins to go to groups.
Okay.
So I think that's possible based on how everything is built.
That seems pretty reasonable.
But so I guess let's go on to groups. I don't think that we need to read through all of them, because groups came out a week or two ago, and if you don't know them, go look on lolesports.com. But what do you think the group of death and group of lives are?
That's a toughie. They all look pretty evenly balanced. I can't really say for sure. Geez, it's kind of hard for me to pick. I really can't say.
Yeah, I think the group of death. I mean, the dumbest group is Group D with DRX and Top Esports. That is just an overwhelmingly dumb group, and so is Group B with Damon and JDG.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to be criminal if JDG and Top Esports are on the same side of their bracket. Because they deserve to play in finals again. And I think that's what is going to happen, assuming that they're on opposite sides of the bracket after groups. But I think the group C is a group of life. TSM, Gen G, and Fnatic. I haven't been hugely impressed with the Fnatic throughout summer split, although that they did get the second seed coming out of Europe, so that helped a lot for them. Gen G is obviously a strong team, but I think they were they must have been the third Korean seed, because Damon and DRX I think were top two, and TSM is a week one seed. So I think any of those teams could realistically come out. And I think if LGD makes it out of plans, they would go into that group, as that's the only group without a Chinese team. And I think as a North American one seed, the best you can hope for is LPL4. So I think that's going to be the group to watch as a group of life. But I think the group of death might be Group A, just because there's going to be three teams fighting over two spots. I feel bad for Machi Esports. I don't even know who they are, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. I don't recognize.
Oh, they're Taiwanese.
Oh, okay.
So G2 Suning, and I think Team Liquid would go into that group.
Yeah, I could definitely see C being an easier group, since it has TSM and Fnatic really hasn't looked, despite them getting second place in Europe, they really haven't looked that impressive. And you'd really only have to worry about Gen G. So I could see Group C being okay. Group A would probably be all right too. I think B and D would probably be the tougher ones to really play in.
Rip, FlyQuest, and Rogue. I think Damon and DRX are probably the third and fourth favorites to win Worlds. Maybe third and fifth, or fourth and fifth behind G2 also, but that's a rough group for both teams.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess TL could technically go into Group B, but I think that they would probably be favored to go into Group A, assuming everything goes through correctly. But I guess we'll find out after plans in case something bad does happen. But I'm honestly most excited to just watch Damon and JDG play 2 games, and DRX and Top Esports play two games. But I think this year TSM is probably is NA's best hope to make it out of groups, just because they have the easiest group. But I don't think that it is a good matchup for them either.
Yeah, I think that even if they somehow get out of groups, it'll still be. They're not going to last long in the tournament, I don't think. I will say that TSM has probably improved the most out of all the North American teams during the summer. Like, if you look at how TSM was kind of in spring and looking from the start of the spring to how all the other teams kind of fluctuated and changed, TSM definitely has kind of improved the most, and they definitely seem to have hit their stride with how they've been playing, because they looked, better in playoffs than they did when the summer started. So it's going to be really interesting. I really don't have a lot to say about the groups right now.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick run through of groups. I think that we are going to do a pick'em. I think that actually started yesterday.
I thought pick'em will start
Wednesday?
the 30th. I thought.
I will take a look because it is important, but I could foresee LGD getting out of group C if they got placed there, but that's maybe the only play-ins team I could see advancing.
Yeah, pick'em start the 30th, by the way.
Oh, okay. So that is after play-ins and before the group play starts, like a day later.
Yeah, it's always after play-ins and before the group start.
Yeah, so play-ins start Friday, September 25th. And end on Wednesday, September 30th. And then Worlds proper starts Saturday, October 3rd. So that would be next weekend.
Yeah.
It's a hype time to be a fan of League of Legends and not a hype time to be a fan of Cloud9.
Exactly.
But I believe that's it for this week.
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of anything else that went on or anything to talk about. So unless you don't have anything you need to say.
I have a lot, but I also have to go work, so I will do that instead.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure to follow us at C9 Bodied on Twitter, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.